Michael Jackson thought he had left it all behind. After the $23 million settlement in 1994, he disappeared from the public eye for a while, resurfacing with a new marriage to Lisa Marie Presley and eventually returning to music. His albums still charted. His concerts still sold out. But the world had changed, and so had he. He no longer smiled as brightly. He became more reclusive, paranoid, and increasingly reliant on prescription medications. The media had turned. The same press that once crowned him king of pop now feasted on every rumor. And though no charges were ever filed in the 1993 case, Michael's name remained entangled with whispers of molestation. But in February 2003, it all came roaring back. A British journalist named Martin Bashir released a documentary titled Living with Michael Jackson. The special, which aired in the UK and later in the US, was billed as an intimate, behind-the-scenes look at Jackson's life. What the world got instead was a bombshell. In one chilling scene, Michael is shown sitting beside a 13-year-old boy named Gavin Arvizo, holding hands with him and openly discussing the concept of sharing a bed with children. Jackson insisted it was innocent, that he would never hurt a child. But the damage was instant. The footage went viral. Networks replayed it nonstop. Jackson's claim that sharing a bed with a child is the most loving thing you can do sent shockwaves through the media. Gavin Arvizo, the boy in the documentary, was a cancer survivor from East L.A. Jackson, had reportedly met him through a charity and had taken a strong personal interest in helping him recover. Gavin and his family, Mother Janet, Brother Star, and Sister DeVellin, had been frequent guests at Neverland Ranch in 2000 and 2001. Following the Bashir documentary, public outcry exploded. The Santa Barbara County District Attorney, Tom Sneddon, who had investigated Jackson in 1993 but never filed charges, saw an opening. And this time, he wasn't going to back down. On November 18, 2003, more than 70 members of law enforcement swarmed Neverland Ranch with a search warrant. It was a full-blown raid. Helicopters circled overhead, news crews gathered at the gates, and inside the property, Jackson's private life was torn apart again. Everything was searched. His bedroom, his hidden closets, his personal computers, photo albums, locked filing cabinets. Investigators claimed to be looking for materials to support allegations of child molestation. They took thousands of items, including books, photographs, videos, and computer files. Jackson, who was in Las Vegas at the time filming a music video, learned about the raid through the news. Hours later, a warrant was issued for his arrest. On November 20th, 2003, Michael Jackson turned himself in at the Santa Barbara County Sheriff's Office. He was fingerprinted, booked, and had his mugshot taken. The image of Jackson, pale and dazed, flashed across every TV screen in America. He was officially charged with 7 counts of child molestation and 2 counts of administering an intoxicating agent alcohol to a minor. The alleged victim? Gavin Arvizo. But there was a problem. Several, in fact. For starters, Gavin and his family had previously praised Michael Jackson publicly. In the months following his recovery from cancer, the family had even appeared in a rebuttal documentary Jackson commissioned after Bashir's special aired. In that footage, Gavin and his mother spoke warmly about Jackson. Janet Arvizo said her children were never in any danger. So what changed? Investigators later claimed they discovered a disturbing timeline. According to prosecutors, the molestation occurred after the Bashir documentary aired, when Jackson was under intense public scrutiny. That claim baffled defense attorneys. Why? They argued, would Michael molest a child after being accused so publicly of inappropriate behavior? As the case built toward trial, the Arvizo family's credibility began to crack. Court records revealed that Janet Arvizo had a long history of legal disputes and previously accused others of abuse, including security guards at a department store, a case where she was later found to have committed perjury. The Arvizos had also received financial assistance from celebrities like Chris Tucker and George Lopez, then accused them of not doing enough. There were even recordings secretly made by comedian Jamie Masada and actor Chris Tucker, suggesting Janet had manipulated her children and misrepresented their situation to elicit money and sympathy. Still, the prosecution moved forward, painting a picture of a predator who groomed children with gifts, attention, and alcohol. They introduced the concept of Jesus juice, a term they claimed Jackson used to describe wine he allegedly gave Gavin. But Michael Jackson's defense team, led by legendary attorney Thomas Mesereau, struck back hard. Mesereau argued that the entire case was a setup motivated by money, media attention, and revenge. He called out inconsistencies in Gavin's timeline. He introduced character witnesses who had spent time with Jackson, including Macaulay Culkin, who denied any inappropriate behavior. Wade Robson and Brett Barnes, both boys who had once been close to Jackson, also testified in his defense, stating under oath that Michael had never touched them. Mesereau even called Gavin's own school principal, who testified that Gavin was caught telling classmates he could take Michael for all he's worth. In total, the prosecution called 85 witnesses. The defense called 50. The trial lasted from February to June 2005, and throughout the ordeal, Michael Jackson was a ghost of himself. He arrived in court looking frail, often late, sometimes in pajamas. He appeared in pain, mentally and physically exhausted. There were reports of his back giving out. His face was pale. His health, once private, became a global spectacle. When the case finally went to jury in June, the world held its breath. Would the king of pop be convicted of child molestation and spend the rest of his life in prison? The jury deliberated for 32 hours over 7 days. They reviewed testimonies, cross-examinations, and evidence. And on June 13, 2005, they returned their verdict. Not guilty on all 14 counts. Not guilty of child molestation. Not guilty of serving alcohol to a minor. Not guilty of conspiracy to imprison the Arvizo family. The courthouse erupted. Outside, fans wept. Reporters scrambled. The world was stunned. Michael Jackson walked out a free man, but the scars would never heal. Though acquitted, Jackson would never tour again. His financial empire crumbled. He withdrew from the public, eventually moving to Bahrain in self-imposed exile. The trial had cleared his name in court, but not in the court of public opinion. And still, years later, the past wasn't finished with him. Because in 2019, long after Jackson was dead, two of the boys who once defended him would return to accuse him all over again.